Colin Kaepernick sparked a sports-wide movement when he began protesting during the national anthem in the preseason. But how does the public feel about the 49ers quarterback now? Well, according to a recent poll of over 1,000 Americans, which is representative of the general population in terms of diversity, Colin Kaepernick was the most disliked player in the NFL, according to ePoll marketing research. So here it is in the dislike category, Cap finishing #1, followed by Jameis Winston with 22% of the vote, the Dolphins and Dominican Sue 21%, Tom Brady 13%, and Big Ben Roethlisberger at 10%. Now, I want to point out, in August 2014, the last time this poll was taken, Kaepernick was disliked a lot, but by only 6% of the population. Now it's up to 29% since the protests, etc. The coach, Herm Edwards, in the house with us to help break this down. Coach, what do you make of this?
Not surprising. I mean, if you look at history, look at Muhammad Ali, look at John Carlos, Tommy Smith. I mean, people even before that. I mean, when you do something that Colin has done, he is basically the voice of the voiceless. He's speaking for people of color. And you think about Lady Justice, she wears a blindfold, and she holds a scale that's balanced when it comes to justice. And at times, people of color feel that the scale is not balanced. And he's speaking up for all those that cannot speak, along with a lot of other athletes. And I think people get a little concerned with that if you're a sports fan. Why are they speaking? Well, that's just their occupation, the job. That's their occupation, being an athlete. They're men first, and their husbands and their fathers and their community leaders. You know, I have 2 little girls to raise, and they're 10 and 11 now. And we have this conversation every once in a while. In school, I say, look, most kids and people in general, they want to live their life to be liked. Don't do that. You live your life to make a difference. And sometimes making a difference and standing for something that you really believe in, it's not popular. And in this case, this is not popular. This is an event that is coming across our country right now, and it's one of those events where when color gets involved in it, it's uncomfortable to talk about, to be quite honest. We don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about those issues because you're an athlete or you're a person that's not in that situation. It doesn't matter. We're all in that situation. We're Americans. And this is becoming a part of our country that when I look at it on TV, I get disturbed because here's what I see. When did in our country a person's life not matter? When did that not matter? Whether it's black-on-black crime, whether it's white-on-white crime, any crime at all. When people die and all of a sudden it doesn't matter, it's kind of like, it's okay.
Plenty of times in our country,
right?
Coach. Plenty of times.
That's what I'm saying. When does that become normal for us? When it's just like, it's just normal. No, it's not normal. It should not be normal. Life is precious. Everyone's life is precious. And we got to see that. And when I watch this on television, I watch what's going on in our country, I get a little, I'm upset. I go, what is this? We're better than this. All of us are better than that. So that's what Colin is standing up for and the rest of these athletes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
Life has been cheap in this country for various groups plenty of times. To answer your rhetorical question, Native Americans in the beginning, obviously African Americans, Japanese internment camps. There have been plenty of very bad episodes in our country's history, which nevertheless is the greatest country in the world. This list, when I look at it, I see Jameis Winston, who had some problems in college, serious legal problems, but he has a big personality. He's a winning quarterback, and that goes a long way. So a lot of people like him, a lot of people don't. I wouldn't say that's polarizing exactly. Ndamukong Suh is considered a dirty player, and he's a star, so people don't like him. Tom Brady, Deflategate, and was the quarterback during Spygate, and he's a huge star, and so people, don't like him or hate on him or have reasons to. And Roethlisberger also had some serious accusations, and I think people remember that. But Kaepernick is the only one on this list who I would say is truly polarizing in the sense that, having nothing to do with his play on the field, people, as Stephen A. pointed out several weeks ago, he has forced people to choose sides. You're either with him or you're, as George W. once said, against them, right? You're for him or you're against him. And when I look at everyone else on the list, I don't really see any, although polarizing is a word we throw around a lot, I don't really see any other polarizing figures. Kaepernick heads the list because he is polarizing, because he took a stand, because he forced people to choose. And while he's enjoyed much more support, I think, than most assumed he would, there are, of course, those who don't like what he did.
This is why I like the fact. I actually am happy that Colin Kaepernick is the most hated athlete in America today, because it highlights for me where the problems are, and it highlights what he wanted highlight. If you hate Colin Kaepernick, who quietly protested, didn't prohibit anybody from playing the game, didn't prohibit anybody from coming to the game, didn't block traffic, didn't impede the fans or anything like that. He silently sat for the national anthem. When a furor was created because folks brought up our armed servicemen and women, he spoke about how he was not aiming his ire at the military, our servicemen and women, and then modified his position, his stance rather, literally, by taking a knee, but instead of just sitting down. And still, he's the most hated. Well, why? You know why? Because there are people out there who resent any African American who is in a privileged position, because their belief is you should be thankful and you should be appreciative, as opposed to respecting you for what you have earned, what you have accomplished, and the fact that you've done it in this nation under the rules established by everybody else. It's the closest, sports is the closest thing to a meritocracy that we have in this country. There is the flagrancy of the curtain and what goes on behind the scenes doesn't exist in the world of sports as it does in corporate America, which we all can attest to. And so when you take that into consideration, and the fact that he is still the most hated, it tells you practically everything you need to know about where we are and how far we need to go. And my last point is this. I said this on the air yesterday, Coach, and I'll say it for you because you weren't here. And I'll say it again. Whether it's ABC News, ESPN, or both, one of my dreams, my bucket list, is for me to do what Chris Rock brought to my attention a few years ago. He said, don't come to me asking me to host some town hall meeting with a bunch of black folks. He said, we know how we feel. We know why. And we have spoken out about it for decades, if not longer. He said, you want a real town hall discussion? Let me, meaning him, and now I'm saying me, let me be, the moderator, the host, an audience filled with white folks who feel whatever they feel towards the black athlete, towards African Americans, because every white person doesn't feel that way. And I think we've evolved in a country where we can clearly see we've advanced, we've gotten a lot better, and there's a lot of God-fearing white individuals out there who don't wish harm and negativity.
Part of the multiracial coalition.
But I would love to stand before a bunch of prejudiced white folks who have the courage enough to tell us why. That is where you will get about the business of making progress, because you can't legislate people's heart.
No.
What they feel is what they feel. But when you force them to confront it, you never know what progress can be made.
But you should never tell people how they should feel either, like how you alluded to earlier in terms of saying to someone, oh, you should be happy, you have this now, you should be pleased.
That's
no,
right.
That's not your job.
Don't tell us.
Don't dictate how I should be content or what I should be content with.
That line of thinking is actually the descendant of the line of thinking where once upon a time there was a segment of the population that didn't want slaves to become literate, didn't want them to learn how to read. That line of thinking is the direct descendant of what I just mentioned.
Yes. If you get the opportunity to do that, my friend, allow me to be your co-moderator. I would love to sit on that, because that's real talk. Yeah. That's how you make a difference.
Must-see
right
TV
there.
and must-see change as well. Yes. Coach, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank
we
you,
appreciate you. The Patriots and Texans, meanwhile, match up tonight in a battle of unbeaten teams. The Broncos, Eagles, Giants, Ravens, Steelers, and Vikings are all also off to 2-0 starts. Who is the best 2-0 team, Max?
This is pretty obvious. The Patriots. And I say that because there's some predictive value here. We're not just saying at this moment. Obviously, I took them to lose to Houston, to the Texans at home. But you guys took them to beat the Texans, a 2-0 team.
Yep. We'll talk tomorrow.
And they're playing their third-string quarterback. They probably don't have Gronk, who's in the argument for greatest tight end who ever lived. They don't have their third down back. I mean, this team, the Patriots, have gone on the road to beat Arizona, who's still considered by some a top 5 team, without Brady, without Gronk, without their tackles at the time, without Deion Lewis. You want to make an argument against the Patriots, you can argue the Broncos. But that's about it. The Patriots are the best 2-0 team, Stephen A.
Very compelling argument. But wrong as usual. I'm rolling with the Steelers. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm getting to that point, man, where, you know, I'm going to wait a few weeks, but I'm about ready to think about, you know, because of the Steelers secondary.
Super Bowl.
Well, I am thinking Super Bowl, but it's because of that damn Steelers secondary. I'm still suspect on them. They're ranked 31st, okay? But they're number 2 in rushing, and they're the number 8 defense overall, so I'm good with it. But their offense, we haven't even hit our stride yet. You're talking about, Marcus Wheaton is not there yet, Ladarius Green is not there yet, Le'Veon Bell is not there yet, and you're lucky that Martavis Bryant couldn't stay off the weed, because if I had him, it wouldn't even be anything to discuss. You talk about a dude that would be sitting up here gloating every week, just sitting there with just arrogance oozing all over me, like, please, mere bag of shells, we got this. It would have been me if Martavis Bryant was available. That did not happen.
But he's not going to be available,
But
correct?
he's not going to be available.
Okay, just check.
So again, I'm a bit shaky on it, just a touch. But I am growing with my momentum. I think right now, the fact that the Steelers beat the Cincinnati Bengals without those weapons last week says something to me. It touches me in the right way. And I got to tell you, with Wheaton coming back, and Ladarius Green eventually coming back, and Le'Veon Bell only having one more game to miss before he gets back, and thank God, because D'Angelo Williams has been just, loaded with a workload. I'm just saying, I'm looking at the Steelers right now. Got some speed, got some youth in their secondary. Still need to improve, but nevertheless moving in the right direction. I'm flowing with the Steelers right now, man. I'm flowing with the Steelers right now. Big Ben, Antonio Brown. And by the way, they beat Cincinnati last week. Antonio Brown only had 2 receptions. Only 2 receptions. And they still beat Cincinnati. These are the kind of things I'm paying attention to.
If you were drafting a team to beat another team, your first pick might be Tom Brady. Your next pick might be Gronk. On the defensive end, like, you could do a lot worse than Hightower. They haven't had any of those guys, and they're 2-0 with a win over. And that doesn't even take into account their latest cheating scheme. Who knows what it is, but I'll bet you they're working on it right now.
It may be so, and maybe it might work. But if there's somebody that can knock them off the trails, I think that Mike Tomlin and the crew could do it. With Big Ben, Hall of Famer, with Antonio Brown, balling, with
how much better can Le'Veon Bell play than what D'Angelo Williams doing right now?
Let me tell you, if you are the Steelers or any team like the Steelers, here's how you neutralize the New England Patriots. Offensively, you keep them off the field. You move the chains. And D'Angelo Williams and Le'Veon Bell, if nothing else, could do that. I'm rolling with the Steelers right now, man.
Stephen A., you're good at most things, but making picks not one of your strengths.
Excuse me.
I know people.
I don't want to hear that from you.
It's been only 2 weeks.
I mean, please.
Please, I picked
Seattle,
the Broncos and I picked the Cavs
it's a crime for me to
They lost to the Rams twice last year.
Focus. It's only been 2 weeks. Stephen A. has to say goodbye to the first take.
And I don't care. I didn't want the workload anyway.
How do you feel?
I didn't want the workload anyway.
Now I know you're lying. You're the hardest working man in the business. Now I know you're lying.
I didn't want the workload. I didn't need more added to my workload. It was for me because you cheat, and I gotta work around your cheating.
You eat work for lunch. Now I know you're lying.
I gotta work around y'all cheating. Y'all are both cheaters, man. Y'all both cheaters. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Please. So he chose Seattle as the lock of the week, and the Seahawks lose to the Rams in Los Angeles, thus eliminating Stephen A.
One of y'all are gonna lose this week. One of y'all gonna lose this week.
So it's down to us too, Max Kellerman.
Yep.
You advanced with Carolina winning week 2. Excuse me, I did. And then we cannot pick the Seahawks and Panthers after we've already both chosen them. So here is my lock. I am going with the Packers. They're going to redeem themselves at home against Detroit. And I will remain standing. at the end of this?
Well, you may. I don't know. We'll see. I know I'll remain
Steelers
standing.
over the Eagles?
That's right. The Eagles.
So risky.
The Eagles are mirage. Yes, they've been playing much better defense. I think Carson Wentz is the real deal. He's still a rookie. The Steelers' defense is much improved, and there's no way the Eagles are going to stop that Steelers' offense. Steelers are going to beat them on the road.
All right, we'll leave it there. Do you want to say anything? You want
No,
to go
I'm good.
back and yell?
Listen, I'm more than happy to lean on y'all and y'all expertise. I don't need more work added to my schedule. I'm good. I'm good. And you know what? I deserve to be. I deserve to be out of it. Listen, I deserve to be out of this. I deserve to be out of this because Jeff Fisher and the Rams, of all people, knocked me out of the elimination game.
He heard you.
Can you believe that? Jeff Fisher.
Yeah, you know
Finally, he decides to win a game.
Karma.
Finally, he decides to win a game. Unbelievable.